Alright, today is December the 8th, 2017. This is page 15 in our binder. Alright, so today we're going to be formulating systems of linear equations or writing systems of linear equations. That means we're going to be writing two equations. Things to know when formulating or writing systems. For sure it has to be two equations, so just two equations, and then, well, it's pretty much a review of writing equations from a word problem. So we're going to be looking for vocabulary words such as, or keywords such as is. When you see is, was, something like that, then you know that's where your equal sign is going to go. Then we're going to look for some keywords so we know we're going to be adding. So if they say and, more than, total, altogether, okay, and something like that, something along those lines. Subtraction or subtract. If they say difference, if they see, oh, one for add that I didn't put is sum. That's an obvious one. I forgot. Okay. Subtract a difference, less. Like Natalia is 2 years less than George. Wow, that sounds really weird. It's not the best example. Obviously, if they say subtract. Okay, if I can think of one, we'll come back. If I can think of more. All right. If we're going to multiply, if we see product, the word product, obviously times, twice would be times 2, and that's pretty much it, right? Obviously, if they say multiply, we'll multiply. And then we're going to divide if they say quotient. If they say, there was another one. Oh yeah, half. That means we'll divide by 2. If they say a third, then we'll divide by 3, and then a fourth, and so on. You know, divide by 4 and a fifth. Okay. All right. If we can think of any more, we'll add them. First one, it says Julian has $5 worth of dimes and quarters with 26 coins altogether. Write a system to determine the number of dimes D and quarters Q that Julian has. So we actually have to get two equations from this first sentence. The first equation is that one. The second equation is that one. Okay. Well, this one, I don't know if you realize, but they're giving you two totals. They're giving you a total of coins and a total of money. So when we have a total, then it's going to be set equal to that total, $5, 26 coins. Well, we know that total is going to be addition, so we're going to add. And in both equations, we're going to have the variables that stand for dimes and quarters. So D for dimes and Q for quarters. D for dimes and Q for quarters. If I'm going to add D plus quarters, it's going to equal to coins. This one I can leave the way it is. But since this one is total money, then I need to include the value of money for each of the coins. Well, dimes is 10 cents, quarters is 25 cents worth in money. So then that is going to be my system. Well, we can just use a calculator if we're in class. My calculator looks a little bit different than yours, but it's going to be pretty much the same thing. We're going to open a calculator page. Let me clear it out. Then we're going to go menu, algebra, and solve systems. Okay, mine looks a little different, but we all end up here. Just hit OK. And then we have two boxes, one for each equation. The first one we have 0.10, D for dimes, plus 0.25, Q for quarters, equals $5. You can even put 500, 0.00. And then we have D for dimes plus Q for quarters equals 26 coins. Now do not hit enter before you change that X to dimes and the Y to quarters. Okay, and then you hit enter and it gives you the answer. D is 10, so there's going to be 10 dimes, and Q is 16, so 16 quarters. So dimes equals 10, Q equals 16. Now let's say we don't finish in class, so we don't have access to the calculator. We're going to have to do this by hand. So you would get one of these two equations. The easiest one, the simplest one, is the second one, and you would solve for one of the variables. So I can do minus Q, and then D equals 26 minus Q. So we would solve for one variable, and then we substitute it into the second one. We've already done this. It's solving a system by substitution. So in the next equation, point 10D, I don't put D, but I put what D equals, 26 minus Q. And then the rest of the equation, point 25Q equals $5, or 5.00. Well, then I would have to solve for Q, but I got to get rid of parentheses, so distribute the point 10. So that'll give us 2.6. Then 0.10 times Q is just 0.10Q plus 0.25Q equals $5. And then these are like terms. So 25 cents minus 10 cents will be 15 cents equals $5. And then subtract 2.6 from both sides, minus 2.6. So that gives us 0.15Q on one side and 40 cents, $2.40 on the other. Last thing, divide by 15 cents, divide by 15 cents, quarters equal 240 divided by 15 cents, 16. Sorry. Alright, so then quarters is 16, and then you would plug it back into the simple equation. If quarters is 16, 16 plus 10 would give me 26, so there has to be 10 dimes. So that's how you'll do it by hand. But while you're in class, take advantage that you're here and use the calculator. Really what I'm interested is in you showing that you know how to write the system. Number 2, the perimeter of a rectangle measures 48 centimeters. The length is twice the width. Write a system of equations to determine the dimension of the rectangle. First equation, first sentence. Second equation, second sentence. Do you guys remember the equation for perimeter? What is it? Very good. P equals 2L plus 2W. And it already tells you what it should equal. So it's 2L plus 2W equals 48 centimeters. That's the first one. And then the second one, we see our keyword there is, length is, so length is equals, right? That's where our equal sign goes, twice, so 2 times the width. There are two equations, then we just use our calculator and plug it in. So menu, algebra, solve systems, okay? Now if you want, and you're right here, you can actually change your variables from X to Y to L, comma, W. That way you don't have to change it here because it already changes it for you. So that's one or two ways of doing it. Please pay attention and copy this. Yeah, it's a CAS calculator. It does a lot of things. Alright, so let's plug it in. 2L plus 2W equals 48. And then L equals 2W. Okay, so both equations should have both variables, and they do. And hit enter. I've put, well, mine looks a little weird, but L is 16, W is 8. Mine shows it like this. Yours shows it as a point. If you put L first, then L comes out first, and if you put W second, then W is the second number. So length equals 16, W equals 8. And then you can always check it by plugging it back in. So if the perimeter is 2 times 16, the length, plus 2 times the width, 8, it should equal 48, and it does, so you can check it that way. Okay, plug it in and check the other one. Next question. The local theater sold 438 tickets for a play. tickets sold 24 per adult and $24 per adult and $10 per senior citizen. If the total receipts were $62.98, how many senior citizens tickets were sold? So let's write first. First, realize they gave us two totals. One is total tickets, the other is total money. So totals should be easy because you just set them to the total. But this one is money, then it should include the money. And then totals is going to be addition, and then it's just the two variables that we talked about. They're talking about adult and senior citizen tickets. So I'm going to use S for adults and A for adults and for senior citizens. So both equations have the same variables, but the second equation is total money, so it should include the value of money for each. Adult is $24, 24, and senior citizen is $10. Okay, looks a little crowded. There is our equation. Both are our equation system. So menu, algebra, solve system. You can change the variables here. Whether you change them from A to S, then leave them as X or Y because people get confused which ones they get their answer. If you flip and you tell me the results is really the senior citizens should be, then it's going to be wrong. Or if you leave it as X or Y, then I need you to tell me in your homework what X represents and what Y represents. Okay, so plug in 438, 24A plus 10S, 10S equals 62.98. So I have that they sold 137 tickets to adults and 301 for senior citizen. Did anybody get anything? Okay. So adults is 137, senior citizen 301. Next one. Lino works at a music store. Last week he sold 3 times the number of CDs that he sold this week. Lino sold a total of 180 CDs over the 2 weeks. How many CDs did Lino sell in the first week? So the thing we don't know, if you're not sure what variables represent, it's always going to be on the question. So we don't know how many he sold in the first week, and we really don't know how many he sold in the second week. Okay? So let's use F for first week and S for the second week. So one of them is a total here. It even tells total. Our equation, 8 plus, and then what he sold in the first week, what he sold in the second week. So that's the easiest one. Now the one that's our second one is right here, and it's kind of difficult if you have a hard time like following it. But let me show you how I see it and how I think it's easiest. You can maybe do it a different way. But it says he sold last week 3 times the number of CDs that he sold this week. So which one did he sell more? Or this week? Last week. Always easier to start with the last week with some greater. So the first week he sold more. We'll set that equal to the second week, but as he sold 4 more, so it would be plus 4. Whatever the second week is, he's going to add 4. So second week is 4. It says 3 times the number he's the second week. Oh, this week, which is the second week. So then don't forget to include the times. So then he sold 4 more than 3 times the number of CDs that he sold the first week. Excuse me. So the system, I always think to set it equal to the biggest number, just add to it for the smaller number, and then it'll give you the big. And plug him in. Menu, algebra, solve system. Oops, I didn't change it. It's okay. I change it here. F plus S equals 1, 8. Equals S plus. Okay, change that to F and S. Okay, so we have that the second week he sold 26 and the first week he sold 2. So first week or week 1 was 2. Second week or this week 26. If you switch them, I'm going to count wrong, okay? All right, number 5. A school district held a meeting for all physical education teachers. The number of attending was more than twice the number of men attending. If a total, keyword, of 50 teachers attended the meeting, how many men attended? Okay, let's start with the easy one, total. So say go to 53 at the two things we're talking about, which is what? Very good, men and women. So that's our first equation. The second one comes from the sentence right here. The one attending was 5 more than twice the meeting men. Number of men, excuse me. So which is more, the men or women? Men. So women equals. And it says 5 more, so plus 5 is the number of men. 2 times men. Alright, so let's put in menu, algebra, solve systems. I'm going to change variables to m, comma, double for men and women. And then just plug it in. Men plus women equal 53. Men equal to m plus 5. Okay. And then I have m is 16. So 16 men and 36 women. Alright, one last thing before I let you guys get started on your homework is this here. The keywords then. If you see this word in your homework, which it is, whatever's in front is going to go behind the minus. Whatever is behind the line is going to go in front. Okay? If we're talking about George is 3 years less than Natalia, then we have Natalia's age, and then we would subtract George's age. Or, excuse me, George's age. So watch out for that one. Always, whatever in front goes to behind the minus, okay, when you write equations. And I think that's number 1 in your homework. So, page 119 is our homework. Let's open it. If you're not finished in class, then you're going to have to take it for homework.